Hi, Mark. I'm going to read some news. The first news I'm going to read is seeing that Kim Jong-un lookalike trends heads in Hong Kong. Hong Kong. A haircut and some makeup was all it took for a Hong Kong musician to transform himself into one of the world's most notorious dictators, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. When Kim inherited power from his dead father, Prince Tut, the Australian Chinese musician, about his resemblance to the world's youngest leader, he joked back and forth, "Maybe I should get dressed up and do some gigs with it. After all, I'm a musician, so it's about the performance," said Howard, who declined to give his surname in order to keep his music and impersonation careers separate. He tamed his and drew giggles this week when he paraded down the streets of a popular shopping district in Hong Kong during the Adventure Media shot. He jokingly waved at wide-eyed passers-by and posed with a pornographic magazine for photos. Is a real one, or is he just impersonating? I can't tell them apart. He really looks like him, said Hong Kong resident Alex Hall. At 34, Howard is older than the taller than 30-year-old Kim, but they share many facial similarities. Howard has bushy eyebrows and way lace, but he joked that he would work on that. And for Thursday, the German turned music producer chopped off his hair and realizing he could make something out of the resemblance, set up a Facebook page. Within weeks, an Israeli production company contacted him and flew into Tel Aviv for a hamburger commercial to rival a competitor's ad that featured an impersonator of U.S. President Barack Obama. The clip, in which the imitation king abandons his plan to bomb Israel after enjoying its delicious burgers, got 400,000 online views in a country of 8 million people. Howard said, the camera job request. Howard said he was asked to do an ad for a pistachio company with Dennis Rodman, a retired professional basketball player who calls the reclusive North Korean leader his friend, but the plan fell apart when he could not get his U.S. work visa in time. Howard, who charged Ashgate $5,000 for a party appearance, said being a Kim doppelganger can be a funny experience, but he also helps to stir up dialogue about North Korea and its human rights issues. I don't really have to do anything to create awareness, just my presence, he said. It brings the issue up in a light-hearted way. It's important to know about this country. If they launch a missile, it could start World War III. The next news I'm going to read is Turkey avoids Thanksgiving feud with U.S. presidential pardon. Western. Taking a break from weighty matters of state and pitch battle with political force, President Barack Obama exercised the lighter side of his authority, Wednesday by sparing two magnificent turkeys the bet of becoming someone's Thanksgiving dinner. The office of the presidency, the most powerful position in the world, brings with it many awesome and solemn responsibilities. Instead of one of the turkeys trotted around the stage next to him, this is not one of them. The pardoning event, as annual ritual, took place under the awning of the White House North portico as the small crowd squeezed together to escape a pelting rain, providing material for wakes in Washington. Cable television network C-SPAN, best known for its live coverage of Congress, boasted that it was offering global-to-global coverage of the ceremony. The president announced that, after public voted, a turkey named Popcorn was declared winner of the 2013 National Thanksgiving Turkey competition over his rival Caramel. Popcorn, an almost 2-foot tall, 40-pound foal with a blue tinted head, then his tail feathers spectacularly as he strode about the stage under the watchful eyes of several miners. Obama, who has said his ability to get elected to the White House despite in his Kenyan family last name is a testament to America's tolerance and diversity, displayed a politician's appreciation for both the winner and loser of the contest. The competition was stiff, but we can officially declare that Popcorn is the winner, proving that even a turkey with a funny name can find a place in politics, Obama said. As for Caramel, he added, he is thinking around and he's already busy raising money for his next campaign. Americans have been sending President turkeys for Thanksgiving since the 19th century, the White House said. George H. W. Bush was the first president to officially pardon a bird in 1989, the White House added. Popcorn and Caramel were both raised on a farm in Minnesota. After the pardon, the birds will be on display just outside the nation's capital at Mount Vernon, the estate that first U.S. President George Washington held home. The next news I'm going to read is, it took 3 years to create this 3-minute trick shot video. Impressed with your roommate, the self-professed master of beer pong, fool. So shall not worship false idols, for he or she will surely quarry in the presence of the great Slade Manning. Many created nearly 3-minute video which compiles dozens of trick shots done with ping-pong balls. It took Manning 3 years to create, according to the clip's description. That's dedication, folks. Manning told Yahoo News that he can't even estimate the number of times it took to make each shot. I just leave the camera going for 1-2 hours at a time and cut the misses out when I finally make it. Most shots take around 2 to 5 hours, so they could be anywhere from 500 to 5,000 tries. The trick at the Lyra at Team Mark was, according to Manning, the hardest shot to make. I went out trying for a few hours at a time for about 15 different days over several months until I finally made it. I don't really have any skill or control, so it was just a matter of hitting balls over and over until one family happened to go the right distance and direction. The shots are as impressive as they are varied. He tosses ping-pong balls from a balcony into a cup of water. He bounces balls off the wall, hits cups, which hit other cups, which knock loose ping-pong balls, which then bounce into cups. He even throws one into a swimming pool, and guess what? The ping-pong ball lands in a plastic cup at the bottom of the pool. So, why spend years doing this? Simple. It's fun. Manning told Yahoo News, back in 2009, I was filming my cousin golfing, and I realized it was more fun to try to make hard shots over and over, instead of actually playing how the game is supposed to be played. A lot of people see doing these videos as a waste of time or pointless or stupid, which I criminally disagree with. It's just my hobby. in the same way anyone has something they'd like to do in their free time. The next news I'm going to read is dying Chicago woman waits partner in first Illinois scam marriage. Chicago. A Chicago woman who is dying of cancer waits her partner on Wednesday in the first legal gay marriage to be celebrated in Illinois, 6 months before the state's law recognizing gay unions takes effect. The cancer patient, Renata Gray, 64, and Patricia Ewart, 65, were weighed in a private ceremony in their Chicago home 2 days after they were granted an emergency marriage license in federal court, according to Lambda Legal, a legal group that advocates for gay rights. Illinois gay marriage laws, signed by Governor Pat Quinn last week, does not take effect until June 1st, 2015. The couple has sued, arguing the delay discriminated against them by preventing the couple from marrying before Gray's death. I'm so excited for us and for the community, for today is a beginning. One so richly deserved, said Gray in a statement. Illinois last week became the 16th state to recognize same-sex marriages. This was the latest in a series of gay rights victories, as Howard earlier in the month approved gay marriages, and New Jersey Governor Chris Christie in October dropped his appeal of a court ruling that legalized same-sex nuptials. The next news I'm going to read is Neutron report renews focus on role of Lanza's mom. Hartford, Con. As Adam Lanza withdrew from the world into his bedroom, the only person he appeared to be close to was his mother, who cooked his favorite meals, did his laundry daily, and bonded with him over shotguns and guns. Investigators' final report on last year's school massacre in Neutron provided new insights into Nancy Lanza's home life with her troubled adult son and renewed the debate over whether she bears any responsibility for the bloodbath that began with her shocking death. I think that we will always be bewildered by someone who did express her concern for her son. Why she sought to have him engaged with firearms, Gov. Daniel P. Mello said Tuesday. Not even those folks who oppose reasonable gun safety legislation would argue that it was a good idea to have someone who was evidencing this kind of disturbance have possession of the kinds of weapons that he had possession of. Adam Lanza's fascination with violence was apparent to teachers and other acquaintances, investigators said in their report. He collected materials on mass killings and kept a spreadsheet ranking of mass murders, but his mother wasn't allowed to enter his bedroom, according to the report, and it was unclear how much she knew about his obsession. While the details released Monday led some observers to direct their anger at her, suggesting she was more enabled than victim. Others were more sympathetic. This image contained in the appendix to a report on the shootings at Sandy Hook Elementary School, and a friend of hers, Marvin LaFontaine, said Tuesday that she did her best raising her son even though he was difficult and resisted and resisted help from others or talking about issues such as other children picking on him that really frustrated her. La Fontaine said it just wore her down to the bone. James Allen Farks, a criminologist at Northeastern University in Boston, said Nancy Lanza didn't ignore her son's psychological problems and can be blamed for his actions. She was a victim, not an accessory, he said. We can easily second-guess parents, and there's a lot we can question, but the fact of the matter is many people commit horrible crimes despite the best efforts of parents, siblings, and others. Adam Lanza, 20, shot his mother in the head 4 times December 14th, then drove to Sandy Hook Elementary School, where he killed 20 first graders and 6 women with a semi-automatic rifle. He committed suicide as police arrived. This image contained in the appendix to report on the shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School, and the report details some of the family's efforts to address the needs of a young man described as withdrawn, lacking an appreciation of others' feelings, and best said with significant mental health issues. He had evaluations of many types of the years. He was homeschooled for a period because he did not like the noise at Newton High School, and he refused medications and behavior therapies that were suggested for him. Some parents of other troubled young adults said they can understand what Nancy Lanza was going through. Peggy Sinclair Morris, a special education teacher in Midlothian, said it was like the wild, wild west as she tried to find the right treatment for her 18-year-old daughter, who has an anxiety disorder and has attempted suicide several times. If your child does not have certain symptoms, she said, you can get passed around by the system. I feel empathy for his mom just because, like I said, you try to find the service, and when they're not available, you try to do what you have to do to help your kid. Sinclair Morris said, just because your son committed that horrible act doesn't mean she was a horrible mother. Nancy Lanza, who was divorced from Adam's father, indicated that she did not work because of her son's condition. In their specials, Newton home, she catered to his request, according to his specifications, and getting rid of a cat because he did not want it in the house. In the weeks before the massacre, she said her son hadn't gone anywhere in 3 months and that they would communicate only by email, even though they lived under the same roof. She often took her son shooting at the gun range. She legally purchased all the weapons, and her son carried the day of massacre, and she had written a check to buy him a pistol for Christmas. The report said that she was concerned about her son, but that she never expressed fear that she or anyone else was in danger from him. He was never violent or threatening toward others before the attack, according to the report. A spokesman for Lanza's father, Peter Lanza, didn't respond to a request for comment. Associated Press writers Susan Hay and John Christopherson in New Haven contributed to this report. The next news I'm going to read is Extra's former wife over hidden Twitter star. So, you're at home in New York City watching the Twins while your wife is visiting her father in San Francisco. 6 months later, you get divorced. You Megan $43,000 a year when you split it, and part of that goes to child support. A few years later, he's poking around the internet when you hop on your now-ex-wife's LinkedIn page, and to your surprise, it says she's a first-round investor in Twitter, which made millionaires out of a lot of people when it went public on November 7th. Who? When did she invest in Twitter? Ah, San Francisco. Miss Stuart Sternweiser, according to the New York Post, is choosing his ex-wife, Jennifer Johnson, claiming she secretly invested between $10,000 and $50,000 in the social media giant, an investment that's now worth millions. From reports, Johnson secretly went to San Francisco to meet with her first ex-husband. Strumweiser's Manhattan Supreme Court suit alleges. Meanwhile, Strumweiser, who lives in Carroll Gardens, was home watching their children, and the parties were acting as a marital team so Johnson could make the trip. Unbeknownst to Strumweiser, Johnson was holding business meetings with one or more of the creators of Twitter. The alleged investment was never mentioned during their divorce settlement in 2007, which is about when Twitter began to gain traction. In the suit, Strumweiser, 47, claims the omission constitutes fraud, according to reports, because the investment money should have been considered as part of their marital asset. He claims his ex-wife's investment is now worth between $10 million and $50 million. He's suing for the repayment of $120,000 in child support and 30% of the Twitter shares. Does Strumweiser have a case? It depends on what kind of funds Johnson used to make the alleged purchase. The presumption is that any property acquired in the name of either party during the marriage and prior to the commencement of any proceeding to end the marriage is marital property subject to equal division and distribution. New York City divorce attorney Paul Rodder told Yahoo News. However, if in the case like the wife purchased the stock in her own name and utilized funds in her separate account, and which funds were hers from before the marriage, and then her argument that the stock is her separate property has merit. A party claiming that an asset obtained during the marriage is separate property bears the burden of proof. Michelle Rosen, a divorce mediator in New York City, explained that it is the responsibility of both parties to disclose to each other, as well as the court, what they have and what they owe. If Johnson failed to disclose the investment in Twitter made during her marriage to Strumweiser, she's opening herself up to potential litigation, says Rosen. Not declaring an asset that was occurring at the time of the marriage leaves the owner of the asset exposed to lawsuits in the future, Rosen explained. It is a very dangerous thing to do. Once contacted by the Post, Johnson reportedly said Strumweiser is out of his mind and called the allegations utterly ridiculous. That's exactly the kind of personal attack first suffered over and over during our divorce, Strumweiser told the Post. The next news I'm going to read is a knockout game real? There's a terrifying phrase that, if you believe the media reports, is sweeping the nation. Knockout game, in which someone walks up to an unsuspecting person and punches them in the face or head. knocking them out cold with one blow. Or perhaps not. A growing number of sources have cast doubt on whether this so-called craze is actually a crime trend, or simply news media manufacturing an urban myth out of a handful of isolated incidents. Are people safe to walk the streets, or are there gangs of bloodthirsty urban youth, mice numbered by years of violent video games, stalking pedestrians with the sole intention of punching their lights out? The answer probably lies somewhere in between. Really? 15 urban legends debunked. The sad fact of the matter is that despite years of declining crime statistics, violence remains a grim reality in many cities and towns. New York City had more than 31,000 aggravated assaults in 2012, while Chicago reported more than 12,000 for the same period. According to the FBI, even smaller cities like Toledo, Oil, and Birmingham are reporting more than 2,000 assaults in 2012. The existence of knockout crimes can be denied, since they have been captured on video several times. Security cameras in Pittsburgh, New York City, London, and other cities have proven that there are people who will approach total strangers with the sole purpose of punching them in the face. No thief is involved, and the assailant simply runs away after delivering the blow. And this type of aggression can be deadly. In September, 46-year-old representative of Hoboken, New York, was killed in such an assault. According to CBS New York, and a 13-year-old boy in Syracuse, New York, was recently sentenced to 18 months of confinement after playing knockout with a group of friends when the youth punch failed to knock out a 51-year-old man. An older teenager joined in the game, delivering a punch so severe it caused bleeding in the man's brain. He eventually died. But do these incidents signal a nationwide crime trend? No, if the word trend implies some degree of increase, said Jeffrey Ford, director of the Research and Evaluation Center at the John Jay College of Criminal Justice in New York City, appealing to our research friends. The media coverage has been increasing, and at times it seems that the number of incidents is growing. But this is mainly because reporters are going back to collect and describe events from past years, but to live science. Indeed, references to a knockout game have existed as far back as 1992, according to the Associated Press, which attributes the death of an MIT student in Cambridge, Mass. To the knockout game, collecting every reference to this issue of the past 2 decades could yield enough detail to call the knockout game a growing trend. A large part of the reason for the recent alarm over the knockout game is the visceral terror that comes from watching violent videos of the game. This is precisely the type of story meant to animate the deepest recesses of our little brains, said columnist Emma Ruller in Slate. And as these compelling videos get shared online, the incidents appear to multiply. YouTube has a lot to do with it, but said an interview on WNYC. The 10 most successful viral videos ever. Hate crimes. There are some media critics who claim videos of knockout violence could in fact have fewer incidents of the crime, but both refuse this. The media are never responsible for how people behave, but there is definitely a risk that repeat exposure exposure to videos of assaults could gradually diminish the shock value. He said, there are also some comments who claim these attacks are targeting certain groups, particularly Orthodox Jews. So both claims any pattern indicative of a hate crime in a scattered instance of knockout is difficult to discern. The racial element in recent media coverage may be made more complex by reports presenting young black males knocking out older white people, leading a few primary conservative media outlets to show this as a strictly black and white crime. The pattern of assaults depends on the neighborhoods and social context of offenders and victims, but that there is no evidence that these assaults are motivated by racial, ethnic, or religious animosity, although this conclusion could change.